What happens when one of Hollywood's most outspoken actors joins a light morning show interview only for things to spiral in a way that leaves everyone watching completely stunned? That's exactly what happened during what was supposed to be a regular promotional appearance on the Today Show. Before diving into what unfolded, don't forget to hit subscribe and drop a comment below sharing your thoughts on celebrity interviews that go off the rails, because this one sure did. Mark Wahlberg entered the Today Show set with his usual confidence, the kind that comes from decades in the spotlight. He sat down across from Hoda, and at first everything seemed normal. They exchanged greetings, made small talk about the weather, and then Hoda shifted to his newest film, an upcoming action release. "So, Mark, tell us about this new movie," she said warmly. "It looks intense from the trailers." Mark leaned forward, hands clasped. "Yeah, it's something I'm really proud of. We filmed for 6 months, did a lot of our own stunts, really pushed ourselves. It's about a father who'd do anything to protect his family, and that theme means a lot to me." Hoda nodded. "You're a father of 4 yourself, so that must have hit close to home." "Absolutely," Mark said. "Everything I do now, I think about my kids, how it reflects on them. The example I set, that's always in my mind." The conversation flowed easily, filled with light jokes about training and shooting. The audience laughed and the mood was cheerful. Then, about 8 minutes in, Hoda's tone shifted. Mark, I want to talk about something else," she said, voice a bit more serious. "There's been some talk lately about your past comments on work culture in Hollywood. Some people criticized your remarks about actors complaining over long hours." Mark's jaw tightened slightly. "Okay, what about it?" "Well," Hoda continued, "you're known for your discipline. Waking up at 4 a.m., always pushing through, but younger actors and crew have spoken about the toll that kind of culture takes on mental health and balance. What do you say to them?" There was a brief pause. Mark's eyes narrowed slightly. "What do I say to them?" he repeated slowly. "I say I came from nothing. Nobody gave me anything. I grew up in Dorchester with 9 siblings and a hardworking mom. So when I hear actors making more in a year than most do in a lifetime complain about 12-hour days, yeah, I have opinions." Hoda nodded but didn't back off. "But Mark, isn't there a difference between having a strong work ethic and dismissing valid concerns about burnout? Some think your comments sound out of touch with what crew members experience." "Out of touch?" Mark's voice rose a little. "Hoda, I am the crew. I've worked every kind of job. Don't tell me I don't know struggle." The mood in the studio changed instantly. What had been friendly was now sharp. Hoda stayed calm. "I'm not saying you don't know struggle, Mark. I'm saying times have changed. People care more now about mental health, boundaries, and sustainability. When someone with your influence dismisses those concerns, it can send the wrong message." Mark leaned forward, elbows on his knees. "You want to talk about wrong messages? Teaching people that life should be easy, that's wrong. Telling them discomfort means they should quit, that's wrong. That's not how success works." "But who decides what success looks like?" Hoda asked. "Is it money? Fame? What about time with family? What about not being so tired you can't think straight? If they don't like it, they can do something else," Mark said bluntly. "No one's forced to be in this business. It's about choice. This industry is tough. That's reality." The audience had gone quiet. Hoda looked down, then back at him. "So you're saying that if someone struggles with the hours, they shouldn't be here?" "I'm saying not everyone's built for this," Mark replied. "And that's fine. But don't try to change the system just because you can't handle the pressure." "Pressure?" Hoda said. "So wanting fair hours is weakness?" "That's not what I said," Mark shot back. "Don't twist my words." "I'm just using your logic," Hoda said. "You said if people can't handle it, they should leave. So is wanting better conditions the same as being weak?" Mark's face flushed. "You're putting words in my mouth." "Then clarify," Hoda pressed. "Because it sounds like you're calling people weak for speaking up." The tension was thick. Camera operators shifted. This was live and completely off script. Mark took a breath. "There's a difference between wanting improvement and whining because a job's hard. Movies take sacrifice. That's what makes them special." "And what about people who've died on sets from exhaustion?" Hoda asked. "Or crew members collapsing from 100-hour weeks?" Mark's tone hardened. "That's not what I'm talking about. Safety matters. You're mixing two things. Am I? Hoda said. Because the same mindset, just push through, is what creates unsafe environments. Mark sat back, exhaling slowly. You're reaching. You came here to make me look bad. No, Hoda said calmly. I'm quoting you. You've said these things. I'm asking if you stand by them. Context matters, Mark replied. When I talk about hard work, I mean earning what you get, not ignoring safety. Then explain that difference, Hoda said. Because to people watching, it sounds like you're saying their struggles don't matter. That's not true, Mark snapped. This industry requires toughness. If everyone stopped the moment it got hard, nothing would get done. And that's the problem, Hoda said. You equate self-advocacy with weakness. You call out people for asking for humane treatment. That's not toughness, that's dismissive. No, Mark said firmly. It's realism. You want to see hard work? Look at single moms or people working construction. They don't get to complain. And there it is, Hoda said, frustrated. You're comparing hardships. Just because one job is worse doesn't mean another isn't broken. I'm giving perspective, Mark said. No, you're deflecting, Hoda replied. People are being exploited in Hollywood. They work long hours for little pay. And when someone like you says, stop complaining, it silences them. You don't know how I treat people, Mark shot back. I respect everyone who works for me. I believe that, Hoda said softly. But your words still carry weight. When you say people shouldn't complain, it reinforces that silence. It tells them success takes work, Mark said. That's not a bad message. Who decides how much work is enough? Hoda asked. You can walk off a set. Others can't. When you speak, they listen, and it affects them. Privilege? Mark said, almost laughing. I grew up with nothing. You have privilege now, Hoda said evenly. You could use it to make things better, not to tell others they should suffer like you did. Silence filled the room. Mark stood, pacing. I came to talk about my movie. You clearly wanted something else. Congrats, you got it. This isn't about going viral, Hoda said. It's about accountability. I've been accountable, Mark said, his voice rising. You're not listening. You just want me to sound bad. Mark, you're doing that yourself, Hoda replied. I'm asking you to explain your views. Don't act like you're neutral, Mark said sharply. You're framing my words. I'm repeating them, Hoda said. Maybe think about how they sound to people who don't have what you do. Everything I have, I earned, Mark said, his voice tight. No one handed it to me. And now that you have it, Hoda said, you can use it to help others instead of defending the system. Mark took a long breath, visibly struggling to contain himself. You want to know what I think? We've built a culture where everyone's a victim, where responsibility doesn't exist, and that's dangerous. Or maybe, Hoda said firmly, we've built a culture where people can finally speak up about mistreatment. Maybe that makes you uncomfortable. That's not who I am, Mark snapped. Then prove it, Hoda challenged. Use your voice to push for better conditions, not to silence those who try. The air was heavy. This was no longer an interview. It was a full-blown confrontation. Mark's voice dropped. You don't know what I do behind the scenes. You're judging sound bites. Then give me context, Hoda said. Help people understand what you really mean. Mark gripped the back of his chair. The context is, I believe in excellence. I believe in pushing yourself. That's not exploitation, it's commitment. And who decides when that crosses the line? Hoda asked. There are limits, Mark said. I'm not saying work yourself to death, but this generation expects too much ease. Really? Hoda said. So it's just a kids these days thing now? It's cultural, Mark said. People expect rewards without sacrifice. Or maybe, Hoda countered, people realize balance matters. That you can work hard without destroying yourself. Mark shook his head. The top belongs to those who outwork everyone. And what about those who burn out? Hoda asked. That's their choice, Mark said. No one's forcing them. So if the system breaks them, it's their fault? Every job has pressure, Mark said. You choose this life. You accept what comes. Those extreme examples, Hoda said quietly, are real. People are dying from this culture. I'm not dismissing real problems, Mark said. I'm separating them from constant complaining. But your attitude makes people afraid to speak up, Hoda said. Do you see that? What I see, Mark said tensely, is decades of experience. I've earned my opinion. There's a difference between opinion and dismissal, Hoda replied. Your influence shapes culture. When you mock people for complaining, you're helping silence them. I'm not part of the problem, Mark said sharply. I treat people with respect. Then use your platform to help them, Hoda said. Your words carry weight. Mark's jaw tightened. You and I will never agree, he said finally. You have your side, I have mine. That doesn't mean both are equally right, Hoda said. You might be causing harm without realizing it. Me? For saying people should work hard? For dismissing valid struggles as weakness, Hoda said. Mark finally sat down, rubbing his face. I've helped hundreds of people in this business. Don't say I'm causing harm. I'm not, Hoda said softly. I'm asking you to reflect. Maybe not everyone complaining is wrong. Fine, Mark muttered. Some might have a point, but not all. Then start by listening, Hoda said. Silence fell. Neither had convinced the other. Finally, Mark said, I'm not changing who I am. I believe in hard work. If that makes me the bad guy, so be it. Hoda nodded. I respect that. But I hope you'll think about this conversation. Maybe, Mark said, standing. It was over. He shook Hoda's hand briefly before walking off. The studio stayed quiet before erupting in murmurs. What began as a casual interview had turned into one of the most intense on-air exchanges of the year. It wasn't just about Hollywood, it was about generations, privilege, and what it means to work hard in a changing world. And as clips of the moment flooded social media, one thing was clear. It was uncomfortable, raw, but necessary. If you liked this breakdown, hit subscribe and tell me in the comments. Was Mark making a fair point about work ethic, or was Hoda right to call out his blind spot?